Hi everyone, it's John Mitchell. In today's video, we're going to look at management skills. So managers of all levels, whether that be a lower level manager, middle manager, or a senior manager, will use a whole range of skills in any different situations that they face daily. Obviously, depending on the situation, they'll rely more heavily on different management skills, but essentially the skills are the competencies that a manager is going to use to help them achieve the required objectives. Now, there's a whole range of management skills that they can use. What we're going to do today is go through the ones that are specifically listed in the study design. So we'll begin with communication, which is the exchanging of information between people. Now, that can be verbal or non-verbal, and it can come in many forms in terms of, it can be written, it can be the spoken word, there's a whole body language, there's a whole range of different types of communication that people will use. Now, managers will communicate both internally, so the people within the business, and it's important that things like they can communicate with employees so that the employees know exactly what they need to achieve. That they're transparent with employees, and also externally to people outside of the business. So it could be that they need to communicate with suppliers to get an understanding so that the supplier understands exactly what they need to send them. It could be that they need to communicate with customers to tell them about the product. It could be that they need to communicate again with the customers to talk about resolving a customer complaint, for example. Now, two-way communication can really help a manager gain feedback from employees and also from other stakeholders. So two-way communication is where the communication is flowing from, let's say, the employee to the manager, but also from the manager to the employee. So that's a really good way, rather than the manager simply demanding and just explicitly saying what they want the employee to do, but gathering feedback from the employee also. Now, the next skill we're going to look at is delegation, which is the process where authority and responsibility is passed down from a manager to employee. So essentially what the manager is doing, rather than doing all the tasks themselves, they'll hand over some of those tasks and the responsibility of those tasks to different employees. And what that does is that can help free up the time for the manager, which can be really beneficial for the manager so that they can focus on different areas that they really need to focus on at that particular time. But also, it's not only beneficial for the manager, but it's beneficial for the employees as well, because it helps improve the skills and experience of the employees. Just think, if the employees are just doing the same tasks every day, now all of a sudden, if they're delegated different tasks, they gain experience in doing those different tasks, but also it may be that they're able to delegate types of decision making in certain scenarios. So they're gaining that experience and improving their skills, which is just another way of developing the employees. It can also help build trust between the manager and employee, so that the manager feels that, all right, they've delegated a task or two to the employee, and they've done that really well. So all of a sudden they gain trust within them to delegate more tasks, and that can help build a really positive culture. Now, the next skill is planning, which is being able to set objectives and then detail ways to achieve them. So that can really help give the business and the employees a sense of direction, and therefore they also know the strategies that are going to be carried out and the work they need to do in order to achieve that particular objective. Now, there's different levels of planning. So there's three main types of planning, or three levels of planning, and we call them strategic, tactical, and operational. The strategic is really the long-term goals, setting the long-term goals, around about that 3 to 5 year mark. Tactical, medium-term goals, which is around that 1 to 2 year mark goals, and also operational goals, which are the short-term goals or day-to-day goals that the business has. It's important that those three are aligned, so that if the business is achieving the day-to-day objectives, they are going to achieve the medium-term and the strategic objectives also. Now, planning can really help provide the business with direction and the employees with direction, and reduces any uncertainty about what is it that the employees are supposed to be doing, or where is the business heading. It really gives that direction that the business needs. Now, I think it's important that we know a planning process. There's no specific planning process in the study design, so just a simple logical set of steps is okay. So just think, planning is about setting objectives and then detailing the ways to achieve those objectives. So, a set of steps, the first step to do that would be to set the objective, and that's what we're going to use today, which is where the business decides the set goal that's going to be achieved. What they can do then is actually analyze the environment, so the business environments in terms of the internal and external environments. Now, the manager can use a SWOT analysis to do that, to really see where the business currently sits. Now, to do that, they can look at the internal strengths and weaknesses of the business. So they look at, well, what are they good at and what do they need to improve? But also look at the external opportunities that are available to them and any threats that they possibly need to avoid. Now, using that information, that can help them develop a range of alternatives or possible strategies that will enable them to achieve that particular objective that they've set. And they need to analyze each of those alternatives to figure out, well, what's the most appropriate one to implement. Once they've decided which one is the most appropriate that they can achieve, that's going to help them achieve their objective. Then they need to implement that, provide resources to ensure that's implemented correctly. And once it's implemented, they just simply need to monitor to check, has the set objective been achieved? And if it hasn't, then they can take corrective action where necessary. So that's the first 3 skills that are listed in our study design. We'll continue with the next skills in the next video. So for questions, activities, and to find out more about our SAC and exam preparation lectures, then come on over to teachingbubble.com.